go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Everything Under the Moon. I am your host. My name is Becky McGiGi, and joining me tonight is my co-host, Kyrra. How are you doing tonight, Kyrra?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Becky. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. Right before we went on air, I had to move everything because my cat is once again behind my computer trying to knock everything off my desk. Mm-hmm. So if you see me having to pick up anything in the middle of the show, you can blame my cat, Zazu. He's just, I guess he really wants to be a part of the show tonight. Who knows? He might end up appearing in front of the camera. I'm not sure. But we do have two special guests tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves and say where they are from and what it is that they do.
My name's Tara, and I am from Southern Ghost Tours, Southern Ghost Investigations, and the Boo-Tique. I'm a, I have a big list of things, but I guess I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm a psychic medium, energy. I do Reiki, crystal healing. We have a paranormal investigation team and a ghost tour company and a metaphysical shop.
Okay.
Hello, my name is James Brooks. I am the manager for the ghost tours here in Old Town Conyers and in McDonough. I've been working for Tara since 2021. We've been pretty popular here in the South for ghost tours. I'd probably say we're pretty up there, maybe not like Savannah level, but we're getting our image very spread out for everybody. I'm our IT person for all of our paranormal investigations. I'm our test dummy for all of our paranormal investigations as well.
Okay, I gotta ask, test dummy, why are you a test dummy?
So usually everybody knows that I can't scare easily because when I got started with Tara and them in the paranormal investigation and the ghost tours, I was a skeptic, like most people are when they first get in, because you always want to throw in the logical solution. Oh, it's a creaky house, it's this. But after some stuff that's happened to me, from like growling to electronics turning on to me being in an isolated room by myself with a REM pod, having to ask questions by myself in the dark, they always like to put me in first just to see how I react.
It's so much fun.
Yes, it is. And if I could find some of our funny audio where you can hear me say some very colorful things over the mics and all that.
Okay, well, I'm glad we kind of got that out of the way.
He has a like a horror podcast himself, and he knows every horror movie, been in horror films, does all this horror stuff. So you would think that he would be like, let's go, find some spirits. No, he is the first one screaming out the door.
And your reaction to that, is that true?
Yes, I'm afraid it is. Ever since a famous incident with one of the ghost tours where there was growling coming from one staircase, and I fell off the stairs, and I was like, yeah, this ain't fun. And I'm by myself in the dark. This is great.
Well, they always, I always say that, paranormal investigating is definitely not, glamorous at all. Falling off stairs, that's definitely not glamorous at all. Luckily, I've never done that yet. I don't think I've ever fallen off of stairs or on stairs or anything like that.
We
I
did.
can't honestly remember anywhere where I've actually like gotten hurt or like fallen. So I guess that's a good thing.
We've never had
Yeah,
any-
knock on wood, Becky, just in case.
I'm like, yeah, knock on wood, but I don't really have wood, so guess it'll just have to be metal. Yeah, not that I can recall. I don't think I've ever gotten hurt on an investigation. I mean, I've gotten scratched and stuff like that, as you know, Kyrra, but
Right.
I don't think I've ever gotten hurt, as in, like fallen or anything.
That's good. I don't think we have either.
No, nothing yet, other than just that one incident with an ex-member where the gentleman went into a house. He kind of likes to agitate sometimes. I won't mention names just because I don't want to, but he'll sometimes like to go in and just start throwing in Hellfire Demon stuff everywhere he goes just to agitate and stir things up. And I think one time he did it, and unfortunately he had a stroke. He's okay now, but I think hopefully he's learned his lesson.
That did happen.
Don't go in starting a fight where you don't need to start a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Not something you want to do for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So usually we start with some random questions, and let's go ahead and do this. And this has nothing to do with what you do. It's just get to know you questions. I know you mentioned before where you're at, but can you let everyone know the state that you're in, just in case they're not familiar with the towns?
We are in Georgia. We're about 22 miles east of Atlanta.
Okay.
We are in Conyers. We're a little bit on the map because have you heard of a show called The Vampire Diaries or The Originals?
Yes.
I've heard of it. I've never watched it, but I've heard of it.
So our building that we are in, where our metaphysical shop is, we're a set location for The Originals Vampire Diaries. And so we have a lot of tourism here. And then our other location is in McDonough, a cute little southern square. And that's where, so we have the two spots. Yeah. And it's close to like Atlanta Motor Speedway. That would be a good landmark for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, like I said, our random questions are basically just getting to know you. I just kind of pick things out and we just kind of go from there.
Awesome.
And some of them make you think, some of them don't. Some of them are easy to answer. But I see, Kyrra, I see that Mercedes is in the chat room, but I can't see what she's saying.
Yep. She just said hello from Marana, Arizona.
Oh.
Hi, Mercedes.
Hi, Mercedes. We were actually just out at Mercedes' house for an investigation on Saturday.
Nice.
So nice to see that you joined us tonight, Mercedes. You'll have to bear with me because I don't have all my glasses. So anything that comes up in chat, Kyrra, you are in charge.
All right. Got it.
I can read the little cards because I wrote them really big, knowing that I wouldn't be wearing my glasses when I tell you things. So these I can read, but the little chat room things, yeah, it's blurry because I don't have on my reading glasses. So our first question is, what was or is your dream career? Are you doing it, or did you have something else in mind when you were growing up?
Okay, I've got a good answer for that. So I'm doing my dream career.
Okay.
So I work in a witch shop. So I sell oils and crystals and help heal people. And when I was young, I wanted to be a nun. I grew up Catholic, and I had church service in my bedroom. I had a little altar set up, and that was my thing. And I had my parents come, and I served them communion and had my little Bible. And now my altar looks a little bit different now. Not so much serving communion, but so yeah, I'm doing my dream job. I am a dog groomer, so that's what I do for money. But this is it right here, and I love the paranormal investigations, but there's not any money in that, so really,
Right.
We just do that because we love it.
Well, for me, I'm I'm living it, but I'm still working on it. I'm actually a working actor here in Georgia. I have an agent and everything. I've had multiple auditions from TV shows, from Tyler Perry productions to Marvel, DC, TV shows with Kevin Bacon, William H. Macy, and I auditioned for the new movie that came out this year called The Long Walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep, we're the Hollywood of the South.
When I was little, I always wanted to be an actress. I never went that way, though. I just never did. So that was something I had dreamed about, but never, I don't know. Just life happened, and I never kind of even tried. So that just went bye-bye. Okay, so our next question. If you could own any animal, what would it be?
An elephant.
An elephant? That would probably be one that my daughter would like.
They're the most expensive of the zoo animals to purchase, though. Like,
I can imagine.
1 million.
You need a big space, a really big space.
Yes, yes. I would love that, though. Like, come on. Like, who doesn't want an elephant, right?
Yeah, I agree. I'd love an elephant too.
Well, for me, since I've always been fascinated with wizards and stuff, I've always loved owls. And to be specific, I've always wanted a horned owl.
Oh, okay.
I like that.
I love the design of their like feathers and all that stuff. They will scare you in the middle of the night if you ever heard a horned owl screech before, because you'll be like, is there something out here that's not on 4 legs? Because it sounds big and it sounds scary, but most of the time it's just horned owls just screeching in the night. If you're not used to hearing it, it will scare you, but I love them. They're so cool, and they just look so much fun to train and have them go fetch stuff for you.
I could just see that, having an owl bring you something.
Right. What about y'all?
Go fetch this. Yeah, the elephant, you would definitely need a big yard, but baby elephants are so cute. I keep scrolling through my TikTok, and one of the things that will pop up is like animal videos, and I will see like the baby elephant videos, and I always send those to my daughter because she loves elephants. Her other favorite is penguins, so I'm not sure if she'd probably say a penguin and elephant second for owning. Mine always changes because I just love so many different animals. I'm like, one day I want a sloth, one day I want a raccoon. I'm like, I'm just gonna have a zoo. I came close. I had goats and I still have chickens. I have 7 chickens, I think, a duck and a turkey, 2 tortoises, 3 cats, and 5 dogs and a bunny.
This sounds like my house.
Yeah, so that's what I have. But I used to have goats and pigs and ferrets and chameleons and bearded dragons and frogs. I used to have a ton of animals.
Oh my goodness.
Like, we literally had a room in our house that was just animals. Oh, sugar gliders. I miss my sugar gliders.
Oh,
Ooh, forever.
Yeah, sugar gliders are the cutest little things.
They are so
and baby goats are so cute. I love baby goats. They're so playful. Unfortunately, COVID hit and, money got tight. So we had to downsize on our zoo because we were paying more money out to feed all the animals than it cost to feed a family of 6. So we were like, something's got to go. So we had to downsize, unfortunately. But I miss my little mini zoo. I kept teasing everyone that we were going to start charging anyone that walked through the door because they could have like a little petting zoo. I was like, maybe I missed a career opportunity there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And also I want to say hi to Crossover Paranormal Society. They're on the chat with Mercedes right now.
Oh,
hey,
hello.
Hello.
All right. Yeah. If any questions come up in the chat, Kyrra, feel free to just, let me know. Because like I said, I'm blind without my reading glasses. So I can see everything else. I just can't see the chat. All right. We will move on to the next question. And the next question is, if you could meet any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be to sit down and have a chat with?
I'm going to go with James first because he's the actor.
Well, this is going to be a very people know who this person is. Good on you. If you don't, that's completely fine. I would like to meet the most famous mime that has ever existed, and his name is Marcel Marceau. He's the one that kind of pioneered mime from where it was then to kind of where it's at today. There's a bunch of fun history about him. He has a very soft tale about him, how he actually did save some Jewish French children from Nazi occupation by actually tricking them by thinking that they were going on a mountain trip somewhere, and they just believed him. He made sure the children stayed calm, and he managed to escort out a good bit of children out of France during that time. But if you ever get a chance to watch some of his stuff, he is so slow with it. And my favorite moment of Marcel Marceau is when he's in a Mel Brooks film called High Anxiety, where they're making fun of silent films, but the one person who's not silent is him, and he just says the word no.
I have no idea who that is.
It's okay.
Y'all.
I recognize the name. I don't think I've ever seen anything,
No.
but I do recognize that name.
Y'all, Patrick Swayze.
Patrick
Is there
Swayze.
a particular reason for him, or just
Girl, I mean, how many times have you seen Dirty Dancing?
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, I just...
Roadhouse, though.
Oh, Roadhouse, yeah.
I was gonna say, for the guys, it's probably the more, like the Roadhouse stuff. For the girls, it's like Ghost and Dirty Dancing.
Yes, the Ghost. Can I tell you a really quick funny story about that, though? About Ghost and Patrick Swayze. So my daughter is an artist, and she makes pottery at an art studio here. And she is only 21. So she didn't know a lot about that movie or Demi Moore. She didn't even know who Demi Moore was. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you make pottery. You teach people how to use a pottery wheel. You have to watch the show. It's the most romantic scene ever. And so, I'm building her up for it. And she pauses the movie and she's like, Mom, that was not romantic. I'm telling you, if I had a pot that big and somebody came up behind me and messed it up, I would be so mad. And I was like, if it was Patrick Swayze, you would not. She's like, no. You don't know how much work went into that.
That's so funny.
So we think that it's like the most romantic scene, and we're like, yes, girl. Yes. She's like, no. It will be on.
Yeah, it's funny that you kind of bring up, you watching that with your daughter and telling her to do that, because there's so many movies that I grew up on, that my kids have never watched.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this is like the best. You need to watch it. And they'll like start to watch it and they'll be like, it's old. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, you can tell the film's old or this is old. And I'm like, oh my God. They like nitpick on every little thing about it.
Right.
We're like, well, that's really lame. Why would they? Well, they don't use the term lame, of course, but they're like, they make me feel so old watching these movies with me. And I'm like, okay, you just ruined it.
They're like, there's no cinematography. What is it?
Cinematography.
Yeah, in it, or the computer animation, CGI or whatever. And I'm like, I know, but it's like The Breakfast Club or
That's
16
great
Candles.
movie.
Coming of age movies that we don't really see anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it amazes me how we grew up with this generation of all these cool things, and we try to show it to our kids, and they're like, no. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think the 80s were great.
Yeah,
Were
they
y'all
were.
in the
I
80s?
miss the 80s. But I will admit, my one daughter who's in college right now, she's kind of an older soul, and she's watched things like Stranger Things, of course, and they show like the malls in the 80s, and she'll admit, she goes, I wish I lived in the 80s so I could have gone to like those malls.
Right.
That's the whole reason, is for the malls. She's all, they look cool.
Look, she needs to come here because Stranger Things is filmed here also.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
And there's a big festival happening here in October because the 5th season's coming out. So they're turning in the place where they filmed a lot of stuff into a very old 80s looking town. And they have all sorts of stuff going on down there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool. Oh,
Yeah,
how
we need to get you guys to come here and you could do your podcast from here.
Yeah, there we go. I wish I could travel more to do stuff like that. I would love it. That would be like,
Fun.
that would be a dream thing for me to travel and do what I do. That would be like my dream.
Right. Do
But
it.
unfortunately, I'm stuck. Well, I would, but there's this thing called money.
I know.
That kind of gets in the way. I wish it didn't, but it does, unfortunately.
I feel that.
If I had that money tree in my backyard that my kids think I have,
right?
Great.
I know. Somebody needs to send me one of those too.
I feel that. Yep.
I'm like, that's just like the real thing holding me back. Otherwise, I would be doing it in a heartbeat. Let me tell you, I would be traveling, doing this, taking podcasts all over, doing paranormal investigations all over. I would love it. I mean, I've investigated outside of Arizona, when I've had the chance, but if I could travel more and do it, I would do it in a heartbeat. There would be nothing stopping me.
That'd be cool. We would love to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've investigated places in Nevada, Ohio, and California. I think I covered them all. But if I could travel all the U.S., my goal, and I've had this goal for a long time. I would love to travel the U.S. first in an RV or something, which my husband would hate because he works on RVs. But I would love to travel throughout the U.S. and hit every zoo and amusement park and haunted place. That would be my ultimate vacation. Go to every zoo, haunted place, and amusement park. That would be the ultimate destination. And then, be able to take it overseas, but can't really take an RV overseas. So,
Right.
No.
Mm-mm.
But that would be my ultimate, goal if I had the money to do that. I would love to do that.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's get into everything it is that you do. And I'm going to usually I don't do this. I make Kyrra wait, but I'm going to let her start it off. Kyrra is our historian of the Tucson Ghost Society. So she loves the history part. So I'm going to go ahead and let her ask some of the history questions before we get into the other stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I don't really know a lot about that area, like Georgia history or anything like that. So I guess kind of my first question would be, what is your favorite story or tidbit you've learned while researching and doing history, for cases or for your tours?
So when we purchased our tour company, a lot of the stories on our tour weren't real. And it had made some of the business owners and merchants kind of upset because it just wasn't doing any good for the Southern hospitality. And so I said, we need to stop, join the Historical Society, talk to some of these owners of these businesses and some of the founding families of our community, and join all of those things and do the research before we even do anything. And then find a paranormal investigation team to come in and investigate these buildings so we can corroborate with the owners of the buildings, the history, and then the evidence from the investigations, and put them together and have real evidence and real stuff for a story instead of these tall tales that were there before us. So that's what we did. And that was before we owned our own investigation company. And so we hired this bootleg company, and I'm like, we can do that ourselves. So we found some really great people. Our lead investigator is a historian and a Civil War reenactor. And so we just have this awesome team of people that just kind of came together. But our town had what we call the Southern Titanic accident happen June 23rd,
25.
June 25th,
1900, excuse me.
1900 is the Camp Creek train wreck. And that was a cool piece of history. And it's very odd because the town kind of celebrates this day. They have an anniversary for it every year, but it was a massive accident. And he knows the story. How many people?
There were 38 passengers on the train, and it was in a big hurry to get to Atlanta, which was called Marthasville at the time. It was not called Atlanta for a while until they decided to call it, it was called Marthasville, but then decided to call it Atlanta. And it was running behind schedule. It had been raining for 3 weeks straight, kind of in that big Atlanta area at the time. And it goes over a small creek that we do have around here, but trains are built to go over ravines and all that stuff. But unfortunately, the water had rose so high that it was washing away the sediment that held up the wooden structure, and it was pretty much just like toothpicks just waiting for them to snap. By the time old number 7 got over there, the engine was immediately launched into the air, the cars piled up, and there was a huge explosion. There were 38 people on that train, only 9 survived that night. And that's not accounting for multiple people from the town that went in there to try to get people out of the cars, out of the water, trying to recover as many people as they possibly could. So we do have a memorial that is set up in our town there that actually accounts for more than just the passengers of the Camp Creek train wreck.
Oh, wow.
So it was very devastating for the community. And think about like 1900, in Georgia, those, and it was a passenger train, so those bodies had to be brought to the town square, and it was from people from all over. So they sat and waited to be recognized, identified by their families, and so that is a lot of what our ghost tour is based upon in one of our cities, because every business had to partake in that, and just all the history and the families around that situation have a unique story for each little business, but we have a lot of history here, from Native American history to Civil War to in just from the early settlers of the area.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty rich in history in these little southern towns.
Yeah.
What about you?
I was like, Tucson also has a lot of history, because Tucson's considered to be like one of like the longest inhabited like settlements in like North America, because we did have Native American history, and then we had the Spanish, and then once Mexicans got independence, and then it was the United States. Yeah, for me, I think my favorite thing, there's like a little part of, I guess, helped Becky with kind of like the history for her tour. And there's one place where we do a lot of like ghost hunts at this restaurant. And then when we were able to like, I really went in deep on this one because it was part of the Presidio, which was, like what the Spanish had, to keep out all like the Native Americans in that area, built in like the late 1700s, like 1770s and stuff. And then like finding out, where this restaurant is and seeing it on the map and being able to be like, oh, that's really interesting. And then for it to then corroborate things that Becky has experienced in that place too, it was just like the most perfect
That's
thing.
great.
Yeah. I had dug into the history a little bit before Kyrra had come on. Me and my co-lead, Mayela, we had done some of the history and, put the tour together and worked it after I had bought it, because we learned more about it being local, because the people who owned it before were from another city. And once it became localized, we got more open doors, we got more stories.
Right.
And so I was able to dig into the history a little bit more, but not as much as Kyrra. She like goes down that rabbit hole, so to say. And there are things that I had experienced, and the place is called JoJo's. It used to be La Cocina. There's things there that, I experienced, and I figured, oh, okay, well, considering it goes back to like the, 1700s, and who knows, how much longer than that. I didn't think much of it. I was just like, that's cool. But like one of the things I did experience was hearing horses. Like I would hear like the noises a horse makes, like the horse like kicking things, stuff like that. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, they probably had a horse. I mean, whatever. But what she discovered really, confirmed that. And I don't know if you want to go ahead and tell them what it was that you discovered. I don't want to take your glory, Kyrra.
Yeah, so that area was like the stables area for the Presidio. So right in that section.
Nice.
So then you're like, oh, I remember being back. I was like, Becky, you heard a horse there, right? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, well, I just found out that it was the stables area. So you're like, oh, nice.
Isn't that neat how you guys can put that together? Like, you have the history part of it and you have the like clairvoyant or what, abilities to do that and put it together and create the story.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people they don't do that.
Yeah. Sadly not. Yeah.
So we did a jail, an abandoned jail, Putnam County Jail. I think I'm saying that wrong.
I think you are saying it right to an extent. So we got a lot of weird names.
We did an abandoned jail last summer, and our lead investigator did all the history on it, but didn't tell anybody the story. And so the owner of the building was present for our investigation, and a lady whose mother worked there as a secretary. And the owner was like a new owner, so he was like our age, but the secretary's daughter was there, so she knew all the stories of everything. And we did the investigation, and we went in knowing nothing. And just by piecing it together by our investigation and our mediums and everybody who went in and everything we heard, and we were able to tell the story of what happened, like some different things that happened in there. And the lady was like, "You are right. You are exactly." Like, she would stop us and be like, "His name was JC. He was 6 years old. He was the warden's son. They lived in that building. His wife, the whole story." She was like, "Yes, that you're right. How did you know that?" Because nobody, that's not written documents. It's you would have to have been there and worked there or lived on this property to know those stories. So I love to hear that when you were able to go back to her and say, "Hey, this is what I found. What you heard was accurate."
Right. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's one of the things we love too, is when we can match it up and we're like, "Look, that's why I'm not insane."
Right.
Because sometimes you sit there and think, well, that's kind of weird. Why would that happen? But then later on you find out, okay, that really matched up, and that's good, So I love that too. That's like one of my favorite parts about investigating. I know you said that you have like a lot that you do. So I want you to be able to touch base on a little bit of everything you do, because I want you to be able to promote, because one of the things I love about my podcast is I like to support other local small businesses like myself, because I know how hard it can be. So I want to give you that time to do that. So pick whichever one you want to start with, and, tell us a little bit about it. And I know there's, like you said, 5 things you do. So go ahead and do them all and let us know exactly what it is.
Well, I'll start with the Boo-Tique, which is the building that we're setting in. We're a metaphysical shop. We set in a set location of a town square that was the set for the originals from the Vampire Diaries. So a lot of our stuff in our building is from that show. And like, we have one of the vampires, Rebecca's coffin in here. So a lot of our tourists come to see that. But we are an active metaphysical shop. So that's what we do. We have people here that have different services for people. We sell crystals and oils. We have 32 local artists that crochet little ghosties to witches' hats to blankets, incense and oils and goat soap, and we support all the small local artists that don't quite have enough to be able to open their own shop. Like, for example, we have a lady who mixes oils and makes her own stuff, and she's called the Good Witch Apothecary, and she was able to put a little sample here and got so big that she was able to open her own store. So if we can do that here with our little eclectic kind of witchy folks, and get them big enough to open their own place, it's kind of like a curating dish for all other small artists. So that's one thing that we do. And it's the Boo-Tique, Bootique. And we're in Conyers, Georgia. And I'll let you talk about the ghost tours.
Sure. Like I said, my name is James Brooks. I am the manager for the ghost tours. We have a ghost tour here in Old Town Conyers. I am one of the tour guides, but we do have other two tour guides as well, named Dusty and Susan. They will take care of you here in Old Town Conyers from Fridays and Saturdays at 7:30. And then if you want to come over to McDonough, I'm the one that usually takes care of those over there. That also starts at 7:30. And these tours are all year round. We do not do them specifically just on October. So if you find yourself down here in Georgia, come on in, do a tour. But if you can't make a tour that's on the weekend, come and talk to us. We can work our magic a little bit. And if you want to do a tour on a Wednesday, by goodness, we'll have it for you on a Tuesday. At 7:30, I will give you the same exact experience. If you want to do a private tour, it's no extra cost. We just cut off the tours so that nobody else joins them. So if you, your family, your wife, bachelorette, bar mitzvah, whatever you want to do, come in and have some fun. You get to learn some history about the town. You get to see some cool paranormal evidence that we have from our investigations. And if we get lucky, we may be able to go inside some of the locations on the ghost tours.
Very cool. So how many tours total do you do? Because two different cities or
3 different cities.
Okay.
We do have a haunted pub crawl, and in the winter when it slows down, we do murder mystery dinners.
Oh, okay.
Which is super fun. We have done because for some reason people think that ghosts are only in October sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they just get 11. I want that job where I only have to work, 1 month out of the 12.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's hauntedmcdonough.com or Southern Ghost Tours @gmail.com, and we have all the Facebooks and TikToks and Instagrams and all that for Southern Ghost Tours. But that's it. That's all we got.
Yep.
Okay. Just a couple questions about your tours. Then you said that they run on mainly the weekends at 7:30, right? Okay, and they're all year round. So are mine. Yeah, I do them all year round. Unfortunately, out here in Arizona during the summer, I think people don't want to step outside. So even though I run them all year round, during the summer is extremely slow for me. When it's like 110 degrees out and you step outside and you feel like you're in an oven, people don't tend to want to walk around.
We don't get quite 110, but we're about 100 like all July and August. And people just, I don't want to, I know you don't want to.
No. No.
Because we will, we'll dress up in character, and James in his pumpkin suit or his kilt or whatever, he's like,
Yes, into death.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our, I don't know how it is with you because I've never been there, but I know for Arizona from about end of April, 1st of May, all the way until probably about, we're still in the 90s now. October, I think October we finally start cooling off, just in time for spooky season. But we're mainly more hot than we are cold for sure. And like I said, for the months of June, July, August, my tours are dead, unfortunately, completely and totally, because people don't want to walk around in an oven for some reason. I don't understand why.
Last February and it was hot. I went to Tucson, Phoenix, and Sedona and I was hot. I was hot in February.
It can happen. Yep.
It can. I know there's some Februarys where we're freezing and some where we're in shorts.
There was
So
snow.
it goes back and forth.
Places, but other places it was hot.
Yeah. February is one of our weird months out here, I think. I think January and February are our weirdest months out here. And we never know if we're going to get to wear shorts that day or long sleeves and sweaters. But for us, for other people, it's nice. But for us who've lived in Arizona, it hits 60 degrees and we're freezing our butts off.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Now, do you guys have any other tours in your town?
Yeah, unfortunately. We have those lovely nationwide ghost tours that have moved in.
We just had one pop up in our town too. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've made it. We became famous now.
It's like they're targeting us. So I was like, yeah.
So cool that they're like, those guys. Only in one of our towns though. So not in Conyers, just in McDonough. Because I was giving my website to somebody for a birthday party for her daughter. And she's like, this doesn't look like McDonough Square. And I was like, what do you mean? So I'm trying to see what she's seeing. I'm talking to her on the phone and trying to guide her through my website. Like, you should be seeing. And I was like, oh, it's happened.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately.
Like, you're not the number one tour in McDonough, Georgia.
Yep, exactly. But they claim
I'm the number one tour in McDonough, Georgia.
Yes.
So
this tour company, I never name names, but if people just do a little research, they're going to find out who these people are. They have a bad rep to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard from a lot of other local tour companies that they steal their stuff. Now, I can't confirm that because I, haven't done anything to, see if they've stole my stuff.
Right.
But I've heard that they either steal your stories, steal your locations, or they use AI to do their tours. And they claim to be the number one tour in the town, even when they first open.
Yeah, they haven't even done a tour yet.
Yeah. And they have like reviews already. And it's like, how? But unfortunately, anytime that you Google ghost tours in your city, they're the first to turn up. So they make the little small local tours harder to find, sadly. Which is why I got on this kick about I am supporting local ghost tours. I'm doing my podcast season on local ghost tours. I even do have on my website a page of other local ghost tours. Go to my website, TucsonGhostCompany.com. Make sure you guys are on there. If not, let me know and I will definitely add you. Just send me your website information. Awesome. But I definitely promote that so much to shop local because you guys, you're going to know about your local history. You're going to be more passionate about it than these people that have tours in every city.
They probably even never been there.
Yeah, they don't care. They're just out for the money. We're in it because we have that passion. We have investigated these places.
We know the people who own the buildings.
Yeah.
Because we eat there for lunch.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? Like it's part of our community.
Yeah. And so that's why I am majorly for, people like us because of the fact that I know we're the ones putting back into that community. They're over in their home state collecting the money. They may have local people running the tours, but those local people are just getting paid, a percentage, and they're out there getting rich and they don't even step foot in our community.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think some of the people who take, I don't know about Conyers because we're more of a tourist area, but McDonough, a lot of the people are local from Georgia that are taking that tour. If you come down here in the South and are telling a story in their town that is not true,
they're gonna know. They're gonna know.
Yeah, they're going. Or if one of the businesses hear you outside telling a story that's not true, they're going to come outside and be like, I'm sorry, what are you saying?
See, that's good though. That's good.
Yeah.
And we don't have that in Tucson, unfortunately. There are a couple locations that are exclusive to me, though, like JoJo's. No other tours can start there. They will not allow it. They won't allow other ghost tours and stuff to go in there. So that is exclusive to me, and I'm so thankful for them for that. But I mean, all the other places, I mean, no one is ever really there to know what is being said or done, so they can't correct them or anything. JoJo's is the only one that's actually open that we can like participate, you know, with them more. Right. So they would stop anyone that's not my tour from doing that. Cool. But you know, everything else is basically downtown Tucson. That's free access type thing.
Cool.
So that makes it a little bit harder to get these nationwide ones, you know, to go by, I guess, because they have. So
yeah.
But, like I promote everything on my tour. There's only 1 or 2 buildings on my tour that I have not personally investigated. Every other building I have personally investigated.
Same.
And the buildings that I have not investigated, the stories came to me personally.
Right.
Because like I haven't been in this old courthouse, but the stories from the courthouse, a judge told me the stories. So, and the judge, the only reason he told me the stories was because I was friends with someone he knew. That was the only reason. Otherwise, he wasn't going to tell me stories. And he even told me, he goes, if you didn't know such and such, I wouldn't have even talked to you.
Wow.
So everything is personalized on my tour that you're not going to find.
We're the same. And you know what? No big company can take that away from us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's you just can't, you know.
Can't duplicate that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Exactly.
Well, I thank you guys so much for like sharing your podcast with us and letting us come on and share our stories with you and let us do it again.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to take a short break in October. But we are going to be coming back November 10th. And again, you know, I'm going to go back to promoting other local companies, bringing people back, making sure that we get that exposure that we need. Cool. And speaking of that exposure, I definitely want you to throw out your website and all that information once again before we let you go.
Okay. So our tours are McDonoughGhostTours.com or on Facebook, you can find them at Southern Ghost Tours. .com or just Southern Ghost Tours on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then the Boo-Tique, BOOTIQUE.
Okay, great.
And, yeah.
Go ahead.
And I don't even know what our website is for the Boo-Tique. Boo-Tique 1692.
Okay.
.com. Yeah. Is our website for the Boo-Tique.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage everyone, make sure that you find them, not those other people for ghost tours.
Yes.
Yes.
Look for me holding a lantern. If you don't see me at all,
you're on the wrong tour, right?
You are not on the right tour. If there's an AI-generated image of me somewhere, please let me know because I will forward it to my acting agent, and he will help me track them down.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you guys for coming on tonight. I wish you the busiest season for October that's coming up.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
we will have you back sometime when the podcast come back.
Awesome. That's great. Cool.
All right.
Well, have a good night.
You too.
Night.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Kyrra. Oh my goodness. I love supporting people like that. You know, and like we were touching base on, unfortunately, and I've been preaching this for a while now, those national tours, they're really hurting the small community. They're really hurting the small local ghost tours because of the fact that they are claiming to be the #1 tour. They're claiming, you know, the best tour and, you know, such and such, you know, wherever you may be. And they may not even have a tour going yet.
Exactly. I think it's just also they have the power of, you know, search engine, like optimization and all that stuff. That's very difficult to try to learn. But also the other things like renaming their tour something very close to or the exact name of what's already there. And that confuses everybody.
Yes.
Online, it messes with everything. So
That was one of the problems I had was since 2013, I had Tucson Ghost Tour. And this other company moves in and is all Tucson Ghost Tour, #1 ghost tour in Tucson. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So you're like Googling Tucson Ghost Tour and they're coming up. And I've had that since 2013.
Yep.
And so I'm like, okay, we're going to change it to Tucson's Haunted History. And then what happens? They're coming up Tucson's Haunted History. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me.
That one, like, I was like, I feel like that one was like pretty immediate too. But
yeah.
Like, that one I was just like, okay.
It's frustrating. It is so frustrating because, you know, here I am and I am not technically advanced, I guess you can say. I don't know how to get us up on Google. I don't know how, you know, apparently you do these keywords and all this crap. I don't know how to do any of that. And, you know, I've had someone try to help me, but it's a foreign language. I'm like, I don't know how to do any of that to get us seen higher on Google. So you literally have to put in TucsonGhostCompany.com to find us. Otherwise, you know, you got to keep scrolling down to find us. And it's so frustrating. And like I said, we've done this work. You've dug, you know, so much into the history. You went down that rabbit hole, so to say. I've, you know, and you've investigated some of these places too. I've investigated these properties. I've talked to owners. I've talked to people. We made it so personalized. And I know that can't be duplicated, but it's the fact that these other tours are coming in acting like they own the city when they don't even live here. They don't care about it.
Yeah.
It frustrates me.
And also, like, we know how amazing the tour is. Like I said, we've put a lot of effort and like blood, sweat, and tears into like that tour and everything. But unfortunately, if no one takes it, we can't really show it. So I was gonna say, if anyone out there is listening is good at search engine optimization and all that fun stuff, please help us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tucson Ghost Company. And like I said, I have a page on my website for other local tours. Help them out too, because I know they're all suffering like we are right now because of this company. There's actually 2 different companies that do this. And I'm not going to name names, but they're easily found. They're out there. And I haven't heard any good things about one in particular. You just shop local, especially when it comes to these tours and stuff like that, because they're the ones that know the community. They're the ones that really research the community and they live in the community. So of course they're going to know the community best.
Exactly.
You know, you don't go to, you know, France and, you know, take a tour from an American, you know,
exactly.
You know, you don't go to China and take, you know, a tour from, you know, someone who's French, you know, you go with the locals when it comes to these things. And, you know, especially when it comes to history or ghost tours or anything like that, go with the local companies. Just do your research. I can't say that enough. Just do your research. All right. Well, I really enjoyed the guest. I know we got a little bit of a late start with them, but I really enjoyed them. We'll have to bring them back.
Yes, definitely.
We are doing something a little weird because we usually don't do shows 2 weeks in a row. We usually do every other week. But because a few weeks back, like a month or so ago, I ended up sick and I basically didn't have a voice. We had to cancel the show. And so we are bringing her back next week. And so we will have a show next week. And next week will be our last one until November 10th, we decided. And then we will come back November 10th because I'm crossing my fingers, praying anything I can do to have a busy season. After November 10th, we will be back. We will back to promoting, you know, small businesses, small local places, and other things. I have some other ideas, you know, of coming back and doing, but we will be back November 10th and we will start the every other week thing again, but we will be here next week. So next week, please tune in. Until next week, what do you want to tell everyone, Kyrra?
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate so much. Have a great night and stay spooky.
Exactly. And just make sure that you check out our website, TucsonGhostCompany.com. We have every basically social media out there, Facebook, Instagram. I have a TikTok that's personally under me. Becky McKitty Guidison, or basically Tucson Ghost CO is where you can find us all. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate our guests tonight. Stan. We appreciate our producer putting us on. And until next week, remember, you're never truly alone. Good night, everyone.